Hello and welcome back. I'm Adam, and today we're continuing on our journey to create a role-playing game. And today I'm actually starting something completely new, which is the 5-room dungeon. As you've probably heard previously, and I'll tell it again, I'm creating a role-playing game. And instead of doing it the usual way, which I've been trying to do many times, which is to create rules and mechanics and then build an adventure afterwards, I'm going to do it the reverse way by first building an adventure, then figuring out what kind of mechanics are fun within that adventure, and then compile that into a role-playing game. It might sound stupid, and it might be stupid, but that's just how I want to do it. So, today we're talking about 5-room dungeons, because I want to create a 5-room dungeon. I want to do that mainly because I like the design of it, and I think it's a great start for this process, for me at least. So if you don't know what a 5-room dungeon is, it's a concept which I don't know who created it, but it's on the internet somewhere. But the idea is that there's 5 rooms. The dungeon consists of 5 rooms. Each of them have a specific theme in mind or a specific mechanic in mind, which will make this typical rise and fall 3-act structure that you see in a story, and make that function within a small contained dungeon, and that it also it's easy to set up, so it's a one-shot thing, or you could have it like a small section of a larger dungeon or something. So it's a very small adventure with 5 different encounters, and that's how it works. So in a 5-room dungeon, there's, of course, as I said, 5 rooms. You start with the entrance. It's called the entrance and the guardian. It's called that because, well, first of all, it's an entrance, and there has to be a guardian at the entrance. The reason why there is a guardian at that entrance is because it blocks you from going into the dungeon, and more specifically blocks other people from going in. So if you have a key, for instance, that's a very simple guardian. It's a key, and those who don't have the key won't be able to get into the dungeon, which means that the peasants and common people don't get in, but the adventurers who were given the key by some NPC to start the quest will be able to enter. And so this guardian here is supposed to be something like that. It could be a monster that people don't want to interact with because it's hostile, or it could be some sort of puzzle that opens up only once per year. It could be anything that just stops regular people from going to that place. It could also be just a hostile environment. So that's the entrance. Then you have part 2, which is, or room 2, which is puzzles and roleplay. Here you sort of break up this this entrance, and you shift it over to something else, and to a more role-playing type of encounter. You can of course have real role-playing where you interact with an NPC or a puzzle that you have to solve in order to move further. This could be just about anything. Some good examples are that you have some sort of magical puzzle, some sort of trap or door that can only be opened if, or disarmed if you do a specific thing, like a riddle, or like answering a riddle or something. Or you have some sort of, I would say maybe you have some, let's say, poisonous snake, or let's say rats, that you have like a rat infestation, and the rats are scared of fire or light because they have some weakness against it, and then you have to use some light magic or light some torches in order to pave your way through this rat infestation or something. It has to do something in that encounter that is not very combat related. Now again, you want to change this theme of this dungeon over from this one. So these two are specifically distinct from each other. And in order to do that, if this here is some sort of puzzle, if this is a riddle, and whenever the moon is at a specific point in time in the sky, then this door opens, which is based on a riddle or something, then this is a puzzle, which means that this part shouldn't be a puzzle. It could be then some sort of skill check, skill roll, or just sort of an open encounter where you try to climb over a ravine or something. Or you could change it up to a combat encounter and just make it simple, which is fine, I guess. Now, of course, if this here is more like a guardian, that means a combat encounter. You have to fight the troll which is guarding this cave. Then this part should be more of a puzzle. So, the third room is a trick or setback. This is where you trick the players or set them back. Again, this is part of the 3-act structure where you have a rising tension as you move along into this, and then the heroes will suddenly dip into some sort of setback, which again makes this climax moment a lot more prominent. Yeah. So this could be a specific trap that just stops the players from doing something. A collapsed tunnel that hinders them from going back, maybe, or it's something that maybe if they're doing something wrong, that they make the big boss more dangerous, for instance. Now, an important thing about this setback here is that you have to sort of set up the trap. You can't just let them walk into a room. Oh, suddenly there's a trap, and now you suddenly have half health. That doesn't work. You have to build up a way for the players to understand that they made a mistake. So let's say that, for instance, there's a theme going on through these two rooms with disguise and illusions. So let's say that the entrance isn't found because it's an illusion. It's a hollowed, it's a door behind an illusion stone. So people see it as a stone. The players will know that it's an illusion and walk right through it and into the door. And then have a puzzle section or a role-playing section where they have to sort of see the truth or something, that there's a lot of illusions in a maze or something that's I don't know. I'm just coming up with stuff as I go here. So some sort of illusion that they have to break free from, maybe. And then at the trick and setback area, let's say that there's a prisoner here and they need to rescue them, or the prisoner asks to be rescued. Again, this is a trap because this prisoner is just an illusion. It's a monster, a mimic or something. But since there's a theme here, if they go for that trap, if they try to, if they're convinced to help this prisoner here, and they spring up and say, "Ha, I'm an illusion," or "Yes, I'm a mimic," or something, this is a trap, and then suddenly becomes a combat encounter, then, well, the players know that, yes, this was actually something that we could foresee, because we should have foreseen that the theme was illusion and trickery. But then again, if you have the same setup, but the setup is just that, okay, you walk into this room and then suddenly the room is filled with lava or poisonous gas, and then it's like, okay, then that just feels more like a punishment for the players. So you have to be sort of think of some way to sort of thematically link these together. So the fourth room is the climax room. It's the big battle, the conflict, the sort of end of all of this. So this here will be where your big boss is. This is the final encounter. So you fight the monster, and you find the dragon or whatever is here. You fight it, you win, and you get the loot. That's basically it. Or it's some other conflict. It's the big climax of the whole dungeon. This is where you spend all your resources and finish everything. So that's this climax room. And then the final room, which is the reward or revelation or plot twist room, which will be where you get the reward. You get a treasure or the XP, or you get a revelation, which is you have a revelation on some information that meant something previously in your journey. Yes, this was the big bad guy that kidnapped all the orphans in like 5 sessions ago or something. Or the plot twist, where you would say, this isn't the end. Like, oh, plot twist, there's more dungeon behind this dungeon. Or plot twist, you suddenly started an apocalypse counter, and you have now 72 days to revert this, or else Apocalypse will, the four horsemen of the Apocalypse will come for you. Something. It doesn't really matter what plot twist is, but it's there. So that's the 5-room dungeon structure, and you can of course have it in a linear fashion. This is the structure here. You can have it in a linear fashion where you go from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 and 5 and just move on from one place to the other, or you could have that maybe at room number 2 you have a fork leading either to number 3 or number 4 here, so that the players can choose if they want to go to the climax, or if they want to go to this trick setback room. Again, if you want to do it in this fashion, then you might also angle this trick setback here as a balancing thing. So the players could just go right to the big battle and be finished, or they get the option to risk resources, and I mean risk resources as in health or something else, risk their lives, risk their resources, risk their time in order to get an advantage. And say that inside here there's a weakness potion for the big bad guy, or you have something that can make you win this fight more easily, or resolve this conflict more easily. And so that you could have a link here that's, you say, well, you could go and resolve this conflict now, or you could continue and either win this encounter and get an advantage here, or lose the encounter and get a disadvantage, which you could do in this type of structure here. Now, of course, there's so many ways you can link all of these here together. You just think of something and then you do it. So, but yeah. So this is the 5-room dungeon structure, and I'm going to make one. I'm going to make one for this here, for this entrance here. In order to get into the dungeon itself, I want to have the entrance as a 5-room structure, 5-room dungeon, and yeah, not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I'm going to do it. So that will be the next episode, maybe in the next one after that, I don't know. I'll have to figure out that afterwards. But yeah, that's it for today, and hope you liked it. That's basically it. So yeah, see you around.